So this is the definition of context-free grammar we are discussing. In a context-free grammar, is called a quadruple system. In a quadruple system, there is a n is a number is a set of non-terminal, p is a set of terminal, t is a production rule, s is a starting symbol. Where the p production rule will follow that the left hand side will be only a single non-terminal, but in the right hand side it could be union of non-terminal and terminal, and it's star. Star means Clinic closure. So what does mean that these are the valid production rule that can be possible in case of context-free grammar. So I have given that S produce AB. So S produce AB means that you can see that S is the starting symbol in the left hand side is the only one non-terminal, and right hand side we have a two non-terminal. This is AB. So as it is belongs to NUT star. And similarly, it could be possible that combination of non-terminal and terminal. So small a is a terminal and capital A is a non-terminal. And as it is star is mentioned, so that means pre-produce, pre-production rule can be anything in the left hand side, can be produced to right hand side is a null, it's allowed. So it's also a valid production rule for a context-free grammar. And similarly the B. So what we can guess that what is the sentence or what is the number set of strings or set of sentence that will be accepted by grammar. If we take a recursive measure, we will found it will be obviously a to the power n and b to the power n, where uh, where n is the greater than 1. So that will be the language that will accept. So it can be anything. You can decide that what is the production rule for. It can be any other option of considering the production rule for this type of language, which will accept by this particular grammar. But it has to be a context-free grammar production rule form. So this is the basic idea about the context-free grammar. Now I moving to the part that we have already covered. Just giving the brief of that. If I going to discuss some set of examples for part 3 or derivation 3, that will be a better idea. Let us consider this is the one part 3 or derivation 3. Derivation 3, that is S produce. The production rule is S produce x1, x2, xn. So it will have a n-ary derivation tree. So you have the tree structure is n-ary. So if from the root you have a n number of child. Now for example, what is the step 1 and 2? I think. Okay, let us consider first what is the grammar for that. The production rule is for a particular problem is one page is missing, I think. Is x produce x plus x, or x star x and a. So this is or a. So x produce x plus 1, x plus x. So from x we have the child node x Again we have another child node plus, again we have another child node called x. So as you can see, this is a ternary. So uh, three childs are there, as because there are three symbols. Two is a non-terminal, one is a terminal, and another one is a non-terminal. So the form is like non-terminal produce non-terminal, terminal, non-terminal. Okay. So I can apply for that if I have an example. If I want to get back the sentence like this. Sorry, this is the A. So I can make it A. I can make, or I can make A plus B star C. So for that purpose, I can add here or A or B or C. So that is the production rule I can add. So for that purpose, if I want a plus a, so the plus symbol is the first one. So that's why I just making the left hand side, sorry, right hand side derivation, because next one is a star. So I apply the second rule of production, x star x. So x produce x star x. So there is a x, and then there is a star, then there is a x. Fine. So I will get that x star x. Now I need to put the terminals for every value of x. So for x, if I put the first one is the a, and then next one is either a or b, whatever the requirement you have. So it can be either a or b, whatever. If you required a star, a plus a star a, so definitely this will be a also. But if you record the second one, so instead of this a, you will put a b, and instead of third a, you will put c, right? So you will put here a b, or you will put here c, right? So that will give you the a plus b star c. So you will read a star, all leaf will be read, leaf node will be read, and finally leaf node will be giving you all terminals. So the plus is also a terminal, star is also a terminal, the symbol. So you found that a plus b star c. So a plus b star c, or a plus a star a, whatever, depending on the requirement of that. But the question is that, can I have a alternative derivation? Yes, this is called the rightmost derivation. So rightmost derivation, if you do the right hand side expansion, so this is rightmost derivation. If you able to derive the left side, so derivation will be, that case you can say the leftmost derivation. So this is not a fact of the leftmost derivation. The leftmost derivation will be like, if you apply the first is a star, as you going to derive the left side, so that's why the last is a star symbol you have. So that's why you taking that production rule here first. You start from that first, and that you start to derive this leftmost x for leftmost derivation or left side derivation. As a result, you will get x plus x, and from that you can put any value like id. You can say that is the id or a. So if you put the all a, so it will get back a plus this. It will be get back a plus a star a. So this is the thing that you are getting multiple time or different type of for the same expression for the same string for a given grammar. You getting at least two type of part string. So this critical thing is known as the ambiguity, because if you for a given grammar or for a particular string of acceptance, if you get two or more than one derivation, so system will get ambiguous which derivation we need to take. So once you get it, so then this type of grammar means this type of production rule is called ambiguous production rule. It will have a ambiguity in a production rule, as because that you are not able to restrict any of the sides. So you should restrict that. Otherwise, it will produce the ambiguity, because for that problem you have a two number of different parts. So one is the rightmost derivation and another is the leftmost derivation. So for a result, you can see that so that type of derivation will lead you to a ambiguous grammar. If such a grammar is found, then we call that the grammar have a ambiguity. So this is the basic understanding, very basic understanding of part 3. Now there is another point that in this grammar there may be some uh, un, unused non-terminal and unused terminal, or as well as unused or not important or not required type of production rules. So then that type of grammar need to require to minimize. Rather, I must say that the non-terminals which do not have any requirement for deriving a particular string from a grammar, that type of grammar is called required to minimize. There are a lot of examples are given for your sentential forms, and as well as you can say your parse tree. That the example we have actually discussed. That the example we have actually discussed. There the different state is given. If you go, then you can very easily you will be able to understand. Now, as you can see, this is a common same problem, whether it's ambiguous or not. As you can see, that can be tested for whether a grammar is ambiguous or not. So for that purpose, you need to derive the two type of parse tree. One is a left derivation, right derivation. There is a right derivation, and you can have also a left derivation. So if the both the parse tree giving the same string, so then this is definitely this type of grammar is ambiguous. Okay. Now I'm starting that today's point, the minimization of context-free grammar. So how we can remove or how you can redact a context-free grammar? On the basis of that, it can be called as a simplification of a grammar. In a simplification of a grammar, you can see that there will be three part of discussion. One is the reduction of CFG, and then is the unit production elimination, and third one is the removal of null production. So these three techniques we will discuss, and then obviously there will be a two type of forms. One will be called Chomsky normal form, this is called the CNF, and another is the Gliwice normal form, the GNF. So these are the forms which will produce a minimization or reduction to the context-free grammar. Now we are giving that how we can reduce or reduction took place in case of context-free grammar. There are two phases of approach or discussion. In these two phases, we will able to achieve the minimization. Before going directly to the algorithm step by step, I just taking an example for that purpose to my discussion. Let us consider because I will take example and discuss the every step. Let us consider a grammar is given with a production rule P, S produce AC, or B, A produce small a, C produce small c, or BC, E produce A capital A or E. Where what we want to take care about it, what are the number of steps. There are 4 steps I will follow. In first step, I will include all the symbols. Mostly, those symbols will be called as a W1 that derives one terminal from a given non-terminal. That we have to first consider that type of symbols. And I will initialize as a I equals to 1. So there will be a loop. So that's why I consider that I equals to 1. So first taking care of that, if I see that A produce small a. So A produce small a means A produce a terminal. So this is a non-terminal A which actually produces a terminal. So it is accepted. So that's why I put in a first state W1. Fine. C produce small c. So straight away the C also produce a terminal. Now E produce small e. So I will put E as a state of W1. Okay. So from that rule, I getting that information, and I am including in that. Okay. Now I will continue the step 2, including other symbols. Basically, symbol means non-terminal. And when I include that I equals to I plus 1. So I equals to I plus 1 as I equals to 1. So it becomes W2. That can be derived. So from W2 is basically union of W1 and new symbol. And new symbol is a S. Can S produce a non-terminal? Can S produce a terminal? If we apply S produce A, C, and by derivation, A can be considered as a small a and C can be considered as a small c. So it finally that it means it can reach to a non-terminal. So that's why you add it. And you will continue until you don't get any new non-terminal. So you increase the I. So I become now 2 plus 1, that's the W3. So now you continue that step. Okay, though you continue the step 2, so it become, so you continue the step 2, so you get W3, and W3 is what? W2 union. If you do not have anything, so you have a 5. So until you get the null set, there is a 5. So then you you have to continue. So otherwise, that means now for W3 you get A, C, E, S, and union of 5. So that is the final state W3, and your iteration or phase 1 will be going to complete. So you will repeat step 2 until you get that W2 and W2 are 3 are equal. So you can check it that W2 and W3 are equal. So you can found that W2 and W3 are equal. Okay. So this is the first phase of discussion. So first phase is completed. So as a result, you get a new production rule or new grammar in which you have a terminal and non-terminal. So set of terminal is all a set of non-terminals ACES. So initially it was a ACES, and after phase 1 you also have a all terminals, and production rule is the ACE, and production non-terminal is the ACE, and now P is the production rule. Now what are the production rule now you have, from which you get this? From which you get this? So that is, you can get A produce AC, A produce A, C produce C, E produce this one. So it was the same like the first one. For this example, there may be some production rule inside that can be eliminated from phase 1, but in that particular example that will not happen. But then you have to repeat for phase 2. So in a phase 2, what we going to discuss? Phase 2, we will consider uh, what? Phase 2 in a will be derive the grammar G double prime from the grammar G prime. So now G prime will be the input grammar of phase 2, which will produce G double prime as a output grammar. Okay. Now the step 1 will be what? Include the start symbol in Y1 and initialize I equals to 1. So first set of symbols will be Y1, which will just start with the S. And the step number 2 is what? You will try to increase Y by 1, yi by 1. So that is if it is the I equals to 1, so Y1, then it will be I2. That is derived from yi, that means Y1, and include all production rules that has been applied. Okay, that will be applied for that purpose to get a sentential form. Okay, so that grammar will appear to have a sentential form. Okay, so let us see that how the Y2 is generated. Now let's see. Initially the Y1 start with the starting symbol. Okay, fine, Y1. And to do this, what is the production rule you have? A produce AC. So in a Y2, from the production rule A produce AC, you include inside the A produce AC. Because S can produce a sentential form by using only S produce AC. And it will produce a terminal by reducing A produce A and C produce C. So as a result, you can see the Y3 is generated as S will form a sentential form to A produce AC. This is the S produce AC, and if we apply A produce A and C produce C, so then S produce AC. So this is a sentential form you can get. So in a sentential form, so you achieve the Y3, and Y3 is the AC. So you increasing that part. Now, is there anything apart from that you are getting in that part? Whether E is involved with the starting symbol? No. So from S, no sentential form can be generated from E. So ultimately, you will get Y4 with the union of null. So as a result, it becomes Y3. So you will repeat the step 2 until you get yi plus 1 equals to yi. Okay. So you will start with the do. So algorithm, you start with the do y initially I equals to 1, y equals to s, then yi equals to n, yi plus 1, yi plus 1 equals to yi union new symbol. Here is the symbol is the AC. And it will continue the step while these are not equal. When the yi plus 1 and yi become same, then your algorithm will stop. The same algorithm, slightly different with the case of phase 2. The phase 2, the rest of the non-terminals are eliminated because these are not able to produce the sentential form starting from S. Because from S, if you want to get a production rule, your part 3, then you can see that there is no longer use of E. No longer use of E. So it's only use of A and C. So I want to say that directly the E do not have any sentential form. So this is the do not have. So this part is no longer exists. By taking the different color. So this is no longer exists as a sentential form. So in a part C, this not exist. So that's why this is a totally unused and not required type of production rule and non-terminal. So you can see that can be extended to A and that can be extended to C. So finally, the grammar G double prime can be achieved where you just require S, A, C. These are become the required non-terminal and terminal required AC and production rule reduce to S produce AC and A produce A, C produce C. So this is the minimization of a particular grammar of CFG. So where I eliminate the not required type of non-terminal as well as terminal and production rule. So the blue ink, what I erased, these are basically eliminated from a grammar G prime to produce a final minimized grammar G double prime. So now the G double prime become your minimized grammar. Okay, so this is the rule that is required for that grammar.